send another song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 460. It's Monday, January 4th, 2013, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Internet talk radio for your imagination. Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on earth, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. Today we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley. Plus we bring you the segment Into an Interview and the finale of my interview with guitar master Xander Demos.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I can't believe they found something that was more amazing than Finding Nemo.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
They found the bones of Richard III. He was a guy that they wrote a play about. Shakespeare did. And then this is something else that may have caused some doubt. It was last fall that they discovered beneath a city parking lot the remains of Richard III. And he wasn't doing so hot. It appears that the friars that buried him were really afraid of the people that killed Richard.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
So that's why he was buried like that, naked and anonymous. But really, if you think about it, for the record,
Mike's
that's how we all go.
Daily
Naked and anonymous
Podcast.
and alone.
Yeah!
How depressing. Oh, look who just walked in. Hello, Michael Masters. This is Madame Rootabega. Okay, that's great. Madam, what do you think about them finding Richard III?
Well, it's amazing because he was a king.
Right, King Richard III.
He was the most reviled of the English monarchs.
Okay. Well, this lady named Philippa Langley, or Philippa Langley, she was writing a play about Richard III, did some research and found that there had been another writer in medieval times that had written that Richard III had been buried beneath this parking lot. Back then, of course, in medieval times, it was not a parking lot.
Yes, it was. They were parking their horses there.
What's so interesting is that many people had thought that Richard III's body had been thrown in a river by a mob.
They were wrong.
Yes, they were wrong. What else could they be wrong about?
That maybe this body does not belong to the Richard III?
No, they did a DNA test. They said it's absolutely correct.
Yes, but even those are wrong.
Yes, even those are wrong. No, this one's apparently right. They got it right down to the... They used two modern-day descendants.
Oh, very interesting.
Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Hey, guys, it looks like you two are wearing dresses.
Yeah, we can't find any dresses that fit us properly there.
Well, you know, a good person to ask for advice is Madame Rootabega.
Madam, help me out. How do I dress if I'm busty?
Well, if you've got boobs, a high neckline can make you seem top-heavy. Instead, go for a scoop neck with a supportive bra. Very sexy.
Madam, I love my legs, but my short waist I don't like so much. What should I do?
Look for a drop waist mini to simultaneously elongate your torso and highlight your legs.
Wow, there's some fascinating questions you two have.
Madam, I'm skinny, but I have wide hips. They.
But you just said you were busty.
A fit and a flare style will play up your waist while gently skimming over your hips.
And madam, I'm petite, but I have a large chest. What should I do?
You should go on a date with me, Day.
Ha 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 ha! No, that's not really the truth. Mike, we got all these questions from an InStyle magazine.
Do you know that?
Oh, that explains it. Those were some weird questions. But we never got the answer. What should you do if you're petite with a large chest, madam?
Dresses mit a V-neck and snug-fitting arms help minimize your body's upper half and help lengthen your frame.
And be ready for a lot of guys giving you their phone numbers.
Mike, this was all very helpful, Day. I don't know if Richard III would have been as helpful, Day.
Mike, I get a lot of answers from reading Shakespeare, so I should read Richard III. Do you know that? Yeah, I wonder if that play is going to make a big comeback because of the news. You know, Ian McKellen of Lord of the Rings played Gandalf, and he was in a version of Richard III that was set, I believe, in the early part of the 20th century instead of, you know, during the time that Richard III actually lived.
Wow, that's so interesting. I fell asleep. Do you know that?
Well, whatever you think about Richard III, or whatever you think is a good way to dress if you're petite with a large chest. You can email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you would like to sponsor the show. We have a opening for you if you would like to sponsor the show and have us chat about your amazing product and or service, and you'll be mentioned on the show if you sponsor the show. And to do that, email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. Also, check out our website, mikesdailypodcast.com. That is where you can go to subscribe to the show in iTunes. We have a link there. And if you do that, and if you comment about the show in iTunes, more people find out about us, and it's wonderful. It's like as if you were to put Rogaine on a bald head. So rejuvenating. Actually, I used to use this stuff. Doesn't work. Then there's also at mikesdailypodcast.com our links to where you can find us on Facebook, our Facebook page. Also where to find us in Twitter and in Yelp, where you can Yelp about us, and YouTube. We're all there. Oh, and also like on SoundCloud and Spreaker. We're all over the place. Find out all the places we are at mikesdailypodcast.com. And you can also find the internet radio station, which carries us at noon, 3 p.m., and 6 p.m., plays this show daily, knjoradio.com. We're also on at 2 and at 5 in Los Angeles, on xrqk.com/Los Angeles. The links to those, and also the link to where you can find us in Podomatic. Podomatic is a website that carries podcasts, and apparently we are still in the top 20 of news and politics podcasts. We're at number 15 at the moment. How are we staying in the top 20? I don't know, because actually it's taken a long time to get us there. So you can find all those links and the blog and the podcast picture, mikesdailypodcast.com.
Into an interview.
We're talking to amazing guitarist Xander Demos. XanderDemos.com is where you can find him. He is currently in Florida right now, enjoying is the weather okay?
Oh, it's fantastic.
And Xander, you have supported many acts with your band. You've played with like UFO, Buckethead, Kip Winger, like in concert situations.
Yep.
And you've met all kinds of rock and roll folks. Was there anyone that particularly grabbed you? You were like, oh man, I'm meeting this guy or woman?
You got to be honest, not really. I mean, it was very cool to actually chat with like a lot of different people from these bands and stuff. I mean, A.C. Alexander from Lizzie Borden was a pretty cool guy. We talked, it was kind of cool because we were talking shop, and then it was kind of a cool moment. We were actually playing Under a Darkened Sky for a sound check at this one place, and Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater also, he was playing an Adrenaline Mob, and that's who we were opening for. I mean, he was in there like watching us sound check, and he's kind of bobbing his head while we were playing, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool moment because I guess he thought it was a catchy song, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, there was those moments. I mean, I really didn't get to chat with some of these people that I opened up for because sometimes they didn't, show up until they went on stage and stuff. So, all those experiences have been different.
They're so rock and roll. They show up like right beforehand. That's cool. What are some What are some of the guitarists that influenced you early on?
John Sykes, Tom Schultz, Neil Schon. Eddie Van Halen, of course, like from the early days. And then, as the 80s kind of wore on, I got into Jason Becker and Vinnie Moore, Tony McAlpine, Paul Gilbert, all those guys, Steve Vai, Eric Johnson. A very, very big list. I mean, I didn't just stick with one,
right?
One or two particular guitar players. But I mean, a lot of, I've had some people compare me as kind of like a mixture of like John Sykes and like Paul Gilbert, which is kind of a cool, mixture, I guess you could say. And that's because I'm really into the whole, like the way that Whitesnake 1987 album sounded. like the guitar tone and all that, is kind of a tone that I emulate a lot, but with like the really tight, technical sound like the Paul Gilbert had in Racer X.
How did Tom Scholz do that for Boston? His guitar playing that sounds like a jet engine. I guess it was some kind of a late 70s effect he was doing, but
probably some kind of a tape echo or something like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, most of his guitar sound actually came from an item he invented called the Power Soak.
Huh.
And it was like basically you're able to take like a Marshall amplifier and turn it up, all the way to 10, and get that incredible tube sound out of it. Because like tube amps only really sound good when you turn them up.
Huh.
And if you want to play them at low volumes, you're kind of screwed because you have to have that volume in order to make it sound good. So I mean, the Power Soak basically took all the power, like the output, and compressed it down to a much lower volume, so you got that sound at a lower volume. And that's how the Boston sound kind of came. From what I understand, that's how it came to be.
Huh. Now,
Yeah.
I read in an interview, see, I don't play the guitar. I play a little bit of the keyboard. But you suggest everyone should try and learn at least 2 instruments, so you get like an appreciation of the other one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm thinking I need to get an electric guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and with if you're already a keyboard player, a lot of that stuff kind of transcends to guitar pretty easily. I mean, you can start picking up chords and arpeggios and scales and stuff like that pretty easily.
And you give guitar lessons.
I do, yeah.
Wow. And that's in Pittsburgh?
Well, most of it's actually been online, like Skype lessons and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So via Skype, and it's the age of the internet. So a lot of times, if I'm doing lessons, I might be doing lessons with people that are in another country or in another, definitely in another state.
How neat.
Yeah.
And that's they can find out more about that at your website, XanderDemos.com.
Yeah, there's a page dedicated to it. You can just click on the lessons link.
And so you're Greek?
Yes, I am.
And what's one of the things you love about Greek? The food is
The food.
awesome.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
The women.
I mean, that's at the top of the list. Now, the women, they're kind of crazy.
I saw My Big Fat Greek Wedding like 800 times, so I know most everybody's named Nick or Nikki is what I got from that movie.
Yeah, the Greek women are cool, actually. I grew up with a lot of them. They were actually pretty cool.
Awesome, and also...
But that movie is dead on accurate from what I understand.
It's dead on accurate?
Yeah, from what I understand, it's pretty much, it's basically it.
And
what I remember growing up.
I've memorized lines from that. He doesn't eat meat.
Yeah, a good one.
He doesn't eat meat? Oh, that's okay. We'll make lamb.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, I loved on your Facebook the picture of Rob Halford raking his lawn, and it says, raking the lawn, raking the lawn. That's a great
I just put that up today.
I love that picture. That's funny. Good old Rob Halford. And I am bald like him, but I haven't got the whole beard like he does yet. But
okay. All right. Yeah, he definitely rocks the bald look really well. I actually, when we were at the NAMM show, we went to see Stryper on Saturday.
They're still together?
Oh my God, they sound better than ever.
Oh my God, what was the song? I can't think of the song. They've got a lot of them. How were they? You enjoyed it?
They were absolutely amazing. I mean, they still blow away so many of these other bands that just, they just can't compare to like the musicality these guys have. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased. I mean, but it's like, they had Todd LaTorre from Queensrÿche come up and do 2 songs. They had Tony Harnell from TNT come up and do a couple of songs, and then Jeff Scott Soto came up and did a couple. And so they had all these guest vocalists, like all these great, legendary voices. And Todd LaTorre is a new guy in the scene. I mean, he just joined Queensrÿche last year. And, it was really, it was a very cool experience, like seeing, like, Stryper do, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, and they did Breaking the Law with Tony Harnell from TNT.
Oh, wow.
And it was just so cool to see, like, them do the, songs that weren't theirs, because they released an album called The Covering a few years back, and it was just all cover songs. And and like cover songs that from their influences, and their influences are like